Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all. Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books, and tonight I am continuing my Stephen King journey with my 47th Stephen King book, Song of Susannah. In case you're new here, I am on a journey to read all of Stephen King's books by publication date. This is the 47th book that I've read, and I'm still only like halfway through, I want to say. But this is the 6th book in his Dark Tower series. It's the second to last, so the penultimate book. And yeah, this series has been an interesting challenge to get through. I did like this book. It's not my favorite of the series, but I did really enjoy it. So let's dive in. Since this is the 6th book in this series, it's going to be hard to talk about it without spoilers, but I'm going to do my best. So if you know nothing about the Dark Tower series, basically all you need to know is that there is this mysterious guy called Roland. He is what is known as a gunslinger. So he basically can do really cool stuff with his guns, pew pew, and he is on a quest for the Dark Tower. The Dark Tower is supposed to be the nexus of all worlds, all universes, so super powerful thing. And along his quest for the Dark Tower, he meets a bunch of various people that kind of join his little gang. So little gang on a quest. We have Jake, who's a younger boy. We have Eddie, who is like an ex-drug addict, who comes from a different timeline, so 1980s New York. And then we have Susannah, who came from 1960s New York, a different timeline. Now, Susannah has been a side character up until this point, but I feel like she kind of takes center stage in this book finally. And not that she hasn't had like a lot of time, but Susannah definitely takes center stage. And Susannah has always been my personal favorite character of the series. When we first met Susannah all the way back in book 2, she was basically suffering from schizophrenia, where she had an alternate personality. So there was Odetta Holmes and then Detta Holmes. Odetta was like this kind of prim, proper woman. Detta was like this kind of vulgar, really nasty person. And when those two halves kind of like finally resolved this like schism in her personality, she became Susannah, who was like part Odetta, part Detta, but her own person. Well, in the previous book, we start to learn that Susannah might have another new personality that may be appearing. And this personality, who is known as Mia, is pregnant. Yes, she is pregnant. And I can't get into how she became pregnant, but let's just say that she became pregnant in a very abnormal way. She became pregnant in an abnormal way. She did not get pregnant in the normal sense of two people having intercourse, yada, yada, yada. She became pregnant in a different way. Therefore, the thing that she is carrying inside of her isn't entirely human. So that is nuts. That is crazy. Poor Susannah. Poor Susannah through a lot of this book. So basically this book is all about Susannah and her alternate personality traveling through various worlds, various timelines to find a safe place to have her baby. And it's referred to as the chap. That's what she calls it, the chap. Because the chap serves a higher purpose other than her just having this chap. This chap is destined to do some things. I'm going to be very vague here. The chap is destined to really mess up Roland in his quest for the tower. So there is a contingent of beings that are trying to stop Roland, and they need this chap to be born so that they can use him to like stop Roland. But of course, Susannah, who is, on Roland's side, good person, yada, 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 she is trying to stop this from happening, but also it's still her baby, so she kind of wants to protect it at the same time. It's very much a moral quandary for her, and I love stories that like pose difficult questions, right? Because on one hand, she knows that this baby is not going to be human, is not going to be on the side of good, but also she's carrying it, it's physically in her body, and her motherly instincts like prevent her from wanting to like just end it completely, if you will. So while Susannah is dealing with this, traumatizing situation, Roland and the rest of his crew are off on their own little side quest here. And here is where this book gets really meta, because Roland and his friends, in order to continue on and succeed in their quest, they need to go visit a particular author and a particular author's house to get some information. And who is that author? That author is Stephen King. Yes, Stephen King is in this book. Stephen King wrote himself into this book as a character in this series. Now, when I first heard this, and the first time that I read this series, I found it kind of eye-rolling. I was like, oh my god, like, it's kind of pretentious, it's really weird, like, why would you do that? It's kind of bizarre, but hindsight 2020, now that I've finished the series, I've reread it, not only that, but I've read so many other King books, I do kind of understand it. I kind of understand it. Because if the Dark Tower is supposed to be the nexus of all universes, then where you and I are right now, that's one universe. And in this other universe, there is a author named Stephen King who does something that helps Roland on his quest. I mean, that's like the really simple version. So I will just say that I think that in order to fully appreciate that, you really do have to read a lot of King's other books. Yes, you can read the Dark Tower series on your own and enjoy it, but I don't think you'll get as much out of it if you haven't read, like, all of his other books, basically. So because of that, I can't say it's my favorite, because I feel like on its own, it's a really wacky, crazy story. Yes, I love Susannah. I love her journey in this book, and I enjoy some of the things that happen to the other characters. I feel like this is very much a chapter in a larger story. So book 4 and book 5, I felt very much were like their own stories. This one doesn't feel like its own story. It feels like the beginning of the end. So even though I enjoyed it, I liked it, I don't like it as much as some of those other books. I really wanted to keep this video short, like 5 minutes, but now I've been talking forever. So Roscoe says it's time to go. He needs his dinner and he wants some treats, so I'm going to do that. But before I go, let me know, have you read Song of Susannah? Have you made it that far in the Dark Tower series? And have you ever read another book where the author put himself in the book as a character? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff and more furry friends coming your way soon. All right, everyone. Happy reading. Thank you, Roscoe. Thank you.